You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. A little last-minute shuffling going on right behind the scenes, right?
Got some lot of moving parts. Hey, this is Locked On Bulldogs here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this just in, I don't know if you all realize or you saw this. I put out a tweet. Maybe you got it somewhere, notification. But Locked On Atlanta, Locked On Bulldogs is part of the Locked On Atlanta podcast channel. It's
amazing.
Things Atlanta.
Listen, you know that you're into Atlanta sports. Look at Clint. He's repping the A right up there on the dome right now. Atlanta sports is where it's at. We got a couple of reigning champions hailing from the great state of Georgia. And Locked On Bulldogs, proud to be part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And so there's some Locked On Atlanta shows with some if you've grown up in the Atlanta area and you are a fan of Atlanta Sports Talk Radio, there's some well-known names, and so check out all those shows as well as Locked On Falcons, Hawks, Braves, the whole gamut. Locked On Atlanta has you covered. So today, though, Clint, we're not talking about any of those teams. We're
talking about Georgia. Daniel,
we're talking about Georgia because that's what we do, and we're talking about us as fans because we
that's
are
exactly
fans.
Right. Thank you.
We're not some sort of an insider guru. We don't have. Listen to me. We will give you some thoughts about some things that are being said about the scrimmage and this and that about the first scrimmage on Saturday, but we're not going to do that today because listen, we're not trying to read any tea leaves. We're not trying to decipher any codes. We're not trying to take just some old guy's word for it who happened to have been standing on the sideline and he said, look, this just in. Spoiler alert. Carson Beck is impressing people at the scrimmage. Stop me if you've heard this before. Stop me if you've heard Carson Beck is impressing people in the spring. Okay.
Daniel, we're talking about the 2022 season, not the 2021.
No, it's the same narrative. It's the same thing.
We're here. Okay.
It's the same thing again. Okay. So that's fine. Clint and I are going to talk today and then probably again tomorrow. It's probably going to turn into a two-part episode. Going to talk about some X factors on the 2022 Georgia Bulldogs football team. Now, what do we mean when we say X factors, Clint? It's important that we define our terms so that people don't get all bent out of shape.
We have a lexicon. We're going to probably do that at the end of spring before the summer hits. We'll do another lexicon of all the terms we use here on Locked On Bulldogs. It's important that you know that. We're going to define a little more. We're going to hit that a lot of times that episode, Daniel. That's just going to be on repeat.
That's correct.
Here's what an X factor is. An X factor for Georgia is we need this guy to perform at his highest level in order for the team to do well. Daniel. So the X factor is not the most important. Notice what I said there. It's not the best.
Nope.
It's not our favorite. It's who needs to perform to his highest level for the whole team to continue on the success trajectory that we anticipate having in 2022.
Think about it this way. If this particular player were to radically step up his game, and we're in effect predicting that this player is going to radically step up their game, and we're saying that as an X factor, that would have the maximum impact on the team's ceiling. Like, you understand, if they get better, the whole water level rises for the team, and so it's not going to be your superstar players necessarily. It's not going to be the guys that are already – listen, Jalen Carter ain't nobody's X factor on this team, okay? You're just like he's a star. He's a bona fide star. You know exactly who he is. He's not an X factor in any stretch of the imagination. But we are going to talk about some X factors. And, Clint, I'm going to give you the honors off the first tee. It is Masters Week, after all. Par 3 is tomorrow. So,
y'all,
I'm going to give you the honors off the first tee. Who we going to first?
Look, this one is going to be no surprise to anybody on this podcast who has listened to me talk about this gentleman in the backfield. I'm going running backs. And let me state for the record, our running back position group this year,
Okay.
Better than last year's. Okay.
Wow.
Let me go on record. Better than last
All right.
year's. I'm already saying it.
James,
Okay?
I'm sorry. I'm getting some. It's James Cook. He's calling me in the air. He said, Clint, did you watch the Natty? Did you see that game? Did you watch the
I
game?
watched it.
Okay.
He exploded in the Natty. I understand that. No.
Mhm.
Here's the one guy that if he ups his game to what, it's funny you should mention James Cook, a little wiggle, a little speed. If Kenny McIntosh gets to the level where he stops jitterbugging in the backfield, okay, you're going to know something about me. I hate this about running backs. I hate it. I will get on a soapbox for days. Make a cut and go. Make a cut and read
Mhm.
the offensive line, read the defenders, read where the hole is, and then when it's there, go. So if Kenny
Okay.
McIntosh is able to put it together, he's going to have receiving out of the backfield, a la James Cook. Although on this podcast, we've noticed that he wasn't the best receiving running back, but he added a little dimension. Again, it's that Mike Tyson right uppercut that everybody fears. If Kenny McIntosh gets pass plays out of the backfield, if he has the wiggle, if he has off tackle, if he's able to stop jitterbugging in the backfield and get out to the second level and then start shifting people around using his legs and they start missing tackles there, watch out, because all of a sudden you have a Brian Herrien situation. Y'all know what that offense was like when Brian Herrien was at his peak, when he was doing well. He opened up for everybody else. So again, I don't anticipate Kenny McIntosh to be the best running back on this team. I think Kendall Milton will be that. But if this offense wants to continue in the Todd Monken system, doing what we've done, wheel routes, again, James Cook, off tackle after hammering you for days at a time, bringing in Dejon Edwards. If Kenny Mack gets to that level, this offense is beyond deadly with the receiving cores that we have with Kendall Milton, with Dejon Edwards. He's a running back that is unlike the rest of them. So my number one X factor is Kenny Mack.
Fascinating that you go there because I might have been headed to the backfield as well, but I might save it so we don't get too overloaded with running backs in this episode. But check back tomorrow, and I might be taking you to the backfield with a different X factor coming out of the backfield. First, I want to talk to the fine folks about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. And we know this because we've not only tried every flavor of Built Bar, but sadly, we have tried many other protein bars. And let's just say that they leave a lot to be desired in one category in particular, and that is the taste category. And some might say, Clint, that when you're eating a food, taste is one of the more important things that you could have in said food item. Built Bar is good for you, like a protein bar, high in protein, high in fiber, low in sugar, fits into that keto. If you're in that ketosis type meal plan, you just eat
Daniel's in there every week.
meat and your Built Bar. These are your food staples now. But not only is it healthy for you like a protein bar, it also tastes great like a candy bar. They come in chocolate, caramel, fruit, delicious flavors. They've got seasonal flavors that rotate through. They've got some staple flavors that are always there. You're going to love every single one of them. And right now, when you go to BuiltBar.com, you enter the promo code LOCKEDON15. That's LOCKEDON15, and you will get 15% off your first order. That's BuiltBar.com. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off your first order. Built Bar, the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth.
I have landed in the fairway. I am walking over to the side. You are coming up to the box, Daniel. There's an introduction being made. The azaleas are in bloom.
Ooh.
It's picturesque. Who you going with? You're in the tee box now. Who you going with your X factor number one for the 2022 season?
I just blacked out for a second.
Get lost in it.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to take you to the other side of the ball. We're going to talk about a defensive player now. And we're going to talk about a guy that at the end of the season, we might be saying is the heart and soul of this defense. Okay.
And we've already mentioned Jalen Carter, not the guy we're naming in the segment. Okay.
Three names, one player, Jamin Dumas-Johnson is your boy. Okay, let's get something clear. He is not the most highly recruited middle linebacker that is on this team, but he is next in line. And here's what I mean by next in line. Georgia has built himself a little bit of a reputation as
we got a thing going.
As being a destination for middle linebackers. And Clint, I'm not sure if you know this, but Dan Lanning, who is now no longer with the program off at Oregon, that was not his position group. That was Old Shoe's position group. And guess where Glenn Schumann currently lives? Guess what that mailbox address still is? It's still right there in Athens town. And so middle linebacker is going to be just fine. There was a crop of them this year. But Jamin Dumas-Johnson is being groomed. He played in every game except I think one last year. Played on special teams, but also played in his position.
Meaningful snaps.
He had 2 sacks. He had 3 tackles for a loss. He had an interception last year. Meaningful snaps side by side with guys like Nakobe Dean, side by side with guys like Quay Walker, with guys like Channing Tindall. So he's learning the position. He's being groomed for the position. And now is his time to shine. Clint, we said this many, many times about many, many different players. But do not mistake someone's lack of playing time for their lack of ability to play on this Georgia team. Now, listen, if you're talking about Georgia Tech or Florida or any other number of mediocre, middling football schools,
I love it.
If someone has the ability to play, they're going to get on the field because that's going to be good enough. But that's not the case at Georgia. Oftentimes, you will see a guy in his second, third, sometimes even fourth year in the program, but he has not yet really cracked the rotation, not because he lacks the talent, but because there is all-world talent sitting in front of him. And I don't have to go far to give you an example of some of these guys because I just finished talking about them. Their names are Channing Tindall. That's a great example of a guy that had to wait his turn because there were absolute studs lined up in front of him. That's been the case with this guy, Jamin Dumas-Johnson. And listen, Georgia can't be Georgia if we don't have a dude in the middle controlling things, okay? I'm not saying that he has to be Nakobe Dean or Roquan Smith because those guys don't come around every day, okay? Top 10 picks, Butkus Award winners, these guys don't come around every day. But if Jamin Dumas-Johnson can be a Monty Rice for this team, and I absolutely believe that he can, that's everything that this team is going to need to vault themselves.
Think of the last 3, Daniel. Roquan, Monty, and our boy who better go top 20. If you don't go top 20, if Nakobe don't go top 20.
Let him slide and let the Falcons trade up for him. And then Aaron Freeman, Locked On Falcons, have your boys on, and we'll just talk to you all about it. We'll talk to you all about it.
That's a fantastic name, Daniel. I love that. I think he should be an X factor as well. He was on my list to make the cut. I'm going to go on defense in the next segment as well. Talk to you about my X factor that's on the edge of the defense. But first, I want to let you know about BetOnline. BetOnline is fantastic. They're no longer at a previous erroneous website. It's betonline.net. Get over there right now. They are the official. Just go there. It's simple. Here's why you do that. You should have gone there for the championship game that you placed bets on tonight. Should have happened. If you didn't, shame on you. You should go there for Masters, which you need to make time to watch all of it. Get it done. Place a bet. We'll probably be on here tomorrow giving you some more inclinations that we have. BetOnline.net, your sportsbook experts. They make everything safe, fast, easy, reliable, have incredible props, over-unders, futures, game lines, the whole 9 yards. BetOnline.net, the official sponsor of Locked On Podcasts and official sponsor of Locked On Bulldogs. We love going there. Come mid-season or in-season, we'll be giving out locks every single Thursday. Come make some money with us. We made you a ton of money last year. We'll make you more money this year because college football is our wheelhouse of betting. That is BetOnline.net, official sponsor of Locked On Bulldogs.
You want a little freebie here, Clint. You want to bet on a Georgia Bulldog? BetOnline.net for the Masters. People might be thinking, yeah, sure, you go bet on Bubba Watson. No. How about been playing great golf, never been in contention at multiple majors over his career. What if I told you, Clint, that you could get Brian Harman at the Masters this week at 125 to 1?
That's a lot of juice in your favor.
You just put a 10 spot right there, and all of a sudden you got a stew going.
All right, here's my X factor, the final one for this upcoming season. I'm going to go to defense for this, and here's the deal. I'm going to give you two guys that came back for a season. Okay,
you giving us two X factors here?
I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set up my X factors. I'm not going to give you two X factors. I'm going to give you one X factor on the edge and tell you why it's important. Y'all remember when Jordan Davis said, "I got some unfinished business. Let's go ahead and let's do this thing over again."
Hashtag unfinished business.
Aziz Ojulari said, "You know what? I can do this again. I need to come back. I could go to the draft. I showed out in a game, but I'm going to come back." Okay. All right.
Another guy who, by the way, couldn't see the field his first couple of years. And then what happened?
And then what happened is he made himself some money.
Okay.
Robert Beal Jr. Daniel, coming back.
I see you.
Another year. We have one edge on lockdown. It's called Jalen Carter, and he is a wall. He is a machine. He is madness incarnate, and I love every second of it. He's incredible. On the other side of the ball, if you tell me Robert Beal comes back, takes his game, you think, oh, hey, he's had enough years in the system. He hasn't shown out. Go watch the tape again in that natty. He showed out.
He made a play. He made some plays. Don't act like he wasn't out there making some plays.
If he can take that step a la Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was good, guys. He wasn't first round good last year. He came back, he all of a sudden vaulted himself up, okay? If you're telling me Robert Beal could make that similar jump, going from a good, rotational, solid technician to all of a sudden wrecking and owning offensive linemen on the opposite side of Jalen Carter as we figure out the middle and as we have playmakers all around rotating in MJ Sherman, Nolan Smith, Robert Beal creates a headache for people at the tackle spot that you have to contend with. And if that's the case, again, look out for an Aziz Ojulari type ascension up that. And I think he has it in him. Daniel, I think you got guys like William Poole coming back, who's been buried in the depth chart. I think you guys, Nolan Smith coming back, who's been out there but waiting for that jump. Robert Beal has the tools. I've seen him. He's very toolsy, guys. I'm telling you right now, he's smart, he's technical, he's athletic, and he's got the tools to whip guys on the edge. He ascends. That D-line is now a problem once more.
It's true. And I think people, the reason they want to write off Robert Beal is because, Adam Anderson dismissed from the team sort of 2/3 of the way through the season last year. And so people sort of assumed that, okay, this is now Robert Beal's time and he's got all the reps he wants in front of him. And so you can't really make the excuse, well, he hasn't got enough reps, because the reps were there at the end of last season. And we did see some flashes, but we didn't see explosion onto the scene. It's not like Robert Beal just came out of, was just lighting the world on fire with his play last year. But I do think there's something to going into an offseason, making a decision to come back, had another year of eligibility, could have transferred somewhere else, could have Jermaine Johnson his way right down to Florida State, had a great season, and then gotten drafted into the NFL, just like Jermaine Johnson's going to do. Like,
quick aside. I saw some filth on a draft board putting Jermaine Johnson right next to Trayvon, like in the pecking order. One was 8, Jermaine Johnson. Trayvon was 8. Jermaine was 9. And I thought, you don't stupid.
You don't know what the things are that you're saying. Robert Beal could have done that. There's something to be said for going into this offseason and him saying, this is 1 year. This is my year. I'm coming back for this one shot. You know how like a Major League Baseball player, they're in a contract year, that the batting average tends to go, the WAR tends to tick up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a little bit more dialed in. I think that's what you're going to get from Robert Beal this year. I think being thrust into a greater role last year with the sudden dismissal of Adam Anderson, which obviously nobody saw coming. I think it's unfair to grade him based on those 5 games or whatever that was.
Nope.
I think with this whole offseason, and again, he's not going to be the only guy. Okay, guys like MJ Sherman, other guys, Chaz is going to get a little run out there. There's going to be other guys. But Robert Beal's coming back, and he knows that this is my room. Okay? Obviously, Nolan Smith, he owns the defense. Like, forget about it. Like, Nolan Smith owns the defense.
He's the grandfather of that defense, guys.
He's nobody's X factor. He's in that Jalen Carter category. Nobody's X factor. But
yes, sir.
But Robert Beal he's got his position firmed up, and so now all he has to do is put all of his focus into showing out. I love that, because if he were to elevate his game, you want to talk about the ceiling for Georgia goes way up. That's an understatement. If Robert Beal were to do that. All right. We got more X factors that we're going to talk about. So we're going to come back. We're actually going to continue this tomorrow. We got 3 more guys that we're going to roll through. And so join us tomorrow here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, part of Locked On Atlanta, your team every day. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.